Welcome to Starseed Essence Between Worlds.
Welcome to Starseed Essence. I'm Eva, your host, and today's guest is Peter Sterling. He is an award-winning harpist. He has 17 albums, a few of them #1. He is world-renowned. He plays his harp magically, and he's also known as the Cosmic King, as the magical harpist. He had an experience around 30 years ago with the angels that kind of opened him up to the harp. And I would just like for you to share your story. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Eva, for having me. It's good. It's great to be here with you today and speak with you and connect with your community. I'm coming to you today from my home in Sedona, Arizona, which is known as the Galactic Starport, multidimensional starport here. Very famous for its energy vortexes and the red rock formations. And so this is I've been living here on and off for over almost 40 years. And I came here for the first time in the late 1980s, and I was guided by my inner voice that I was to come here. And boy, when I first arrived and saw the red rocks, I was so touched by the majesty and the beauty and the incredible structure and just the beautiful environment here just really struck me. And I ended up moving here shortly after my first visit. And I moved here to be an artist because it was at this time where I was deciding, what do I want to do with my life? And I decided I'm going to be an artist. I just want to live like an artist. So I've been a stained glass artist actually since I was a teenager. You can see behind me over here one of my pieces of stained glass in the window there. But I came here, I set up my glass studio, and I create these really unique designs out of glass. I'll show you. Uh, I create mandalas,
That is beautiful.
with sacred geometries, and I inlay crystals and gems into the
Wow.
template of the glass. So this is something I received a vision for this when I was a young boy, and then I became an apprentice to a master stained glass craftsman when I was in high school and have been doing it most of my life. And
Wow.
so I came here to do that. And that was going well. I started to produce a lot of pieces and selling my work. But then all of a sudden I got a message that something more was coming, something big was coming. And so I was guided to release all of my material possessions for the most part, acquire a Volkswagen camper van, and that I was going to be led on a mystical, magical journey to discover who I am and why am I here and what is my mission. And like you and a lot of your listeners, I realized that I was a light worker and I was here to be part of this great, planetary transformation that's unfolding on
Mhm.
Earth. And so I wanted to just know what my mission was. What's my part in this great unfolding and awakening of the world at this time of the dawning of the golden age? And so I did. I let go all my possessions for the most part, got a Volkswagen van, and I started sleeping every night out in the canyons here. And I lived very frugally at this time. I lived almost virtually without any money. That was like part of the quest, was to see how detached I could come from the
Mhm.
world. And at this time, it was easy to detach because there was no cell phones.
Yeah.
And so all I had was a P.O. box and
Mhm.
a 1-800 voicemail. And then I just disappeared. I kind of went in through the ethers behind the veils and slipped away. And but this allowed me just to immerse in my spirituality, because I knew that I was here to activate within me my DNA codes. And
Mhm.
so I was doing everything I could to like just to go for just deep, deep healing, to clearing my energy field, clearing my chakras, erasing my past, healing all the traumas of my childhood, healing my inner child, and working with crystals and sacred geometry. And I started calling in the light ships and all this stuff. And by the way, this is all in my book. in great detail, which is called Hearing the Angels Sing, A True Story of Angelic Assistance. And, but what happened was, l- being in nature here, there's this profound silence and stillness and tranquility here. But really, the stillness, I love to just hike out in the canyons and just sit
Mhm.
and be in the silence and be in the stillness here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was guided, was just to immerse, because I was told that what I'm seeking is not outside myself in the world. It was something inside that I was to find, right?
Right.
And so that's what I did. I just went deep, deep into meditation. And what occurred was that I went through a series of very profound, illuminating, transcendental experiences in my meditation here out in the wilderness in the ancient canyons, where I went deeper and deeper and deeper and was able to sit in that place of just that stillness, what the Buddhists would call emptiness. And then also in the yoga tradition, they would call it like samadhi. There's different levels of where of samadhi you can go to. So I believe I tapped into like a level of samadhi where there was like no thought. I was just in that pure empty space in the stillness. And it's so beautiful. It's
Mhm.
so supreme.
That
And
is.
so I just was told to sit in that space. And then what happened was all of a sudden I started to hear a sound, and it was a sound, a tone, almost like a music. It was very just like a tone, but I was tuning into it. And then my inner voice was like, yeah, tune into that frequency.
Uh-huh.
And so you could just imagine me sitting out in the middle of the wilderness by myself atop a rock
Uh-huh.
in the shade of a pinyon tree, meditating and listening to the sound. All of a sudden, it became louder. To my astonishment, I was hearing like a celestial music, a heavenly sound. It sounded like, at first I thought maybe somebody was out in the forest playing some symphonic music on a stereo that I was just kind of hearing it caught on the wind. But then, no, I realized, Eva, that I was hearing something of a divine origin. And I had heard stories and read books of many of the saints and the masters who have spoken of the inner sound, the inner light, and the inner sound and the music of the spheres. So all of a sudden, I realized that this is what I was experiencing. And the more I tuned into it, the louder it became. And then, to my astonishment, it was just like the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. It was like a supreme sound, completely heavenly. It sounded like angelic choirs and harps, right? And just this beautiful sound. And so my inner voice was just go inside, allow this music to lift you up, to take you up into the light. Use the sound current as a vehicle to travel on. So that's what I did. And I was like taken out of my body, right out of the top of my head, out my crown chakra. And I went up into, the way I describe it is like up into my divine self, my higher self, my I am presence. Okay. And I was up in this higher dimensional state of myself, and I'm just being bathed in this golden light. It was such an ecstatic, beautiful experience. But then I could see in my inner vision there was something with me. And so as I adjusted my focus on the inner, all of a sudden, to my astonishment, I discovered that I was surrounded by a group of angels, and there was a whole flock of them, and they were the little cherub angels, the little babies, and they
Mhm.
were playing like harps and flutes and violins, just like you see depicted in the classical
Wow.
Renaissance art. And I was like, "Oh my God, look at them. They're real." I had this realization that the angels were real. They were with me. And then as these moments went on, I discovered that I could hear them speaking amongst themselves in my head. And so I thought in my head, I spoke to them. And then through that, we developed a telepathic connection where we could communicate with each other. And that was a really exciting moment. But that was the start of this relationship I've had with this group of angels now for over 30 years. And, through this communion with them, they communicated to me. They came to me as messengers, which they're known to be. And they told me that my mission in this life is to be a channel for the heavenly music, and that the instrument I am to play is the harp, and that together we would work as a team to bring a special music to the earth at this time of the dawning of the golden age. And wow, what a big vision. But eventually I said yes, and a small harp came into my life, and I began to play it. And after 10 months of playing the harp, I was guided to make a recording, which turned into my first album called Harp Magic. And that ended up getting discovered by an international record label that I signed a deal with. They released the music worldwide, just like the angels told me this was all going to happen. Before it happened, they showed me the whole thing, and it just really unfolded just like as they said. But the year that that album was released, I received a nomination for String Album of the Year in the Indie Awards, which at the time was like the baby Grammy Awards for all the independent record labels. So it just took off real fast. And now to this day, I have produced 17 albums
Wow.
of instrumental harp music, and many have been number one on the charts for new age music around
It
the
is
world. And
beautiful.
yeah, and this last year, um, uh, I even performed on a Grammy nominated album this last year and got to go to the Grammys and all of that.
That's
So it's
amazing.
been very exciting. So
Yes.
yeah, that's basically
I would
how it
be very,
started.
very proud of that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It all stems from your experience with the angels. And I have heard that the angel singing, I know what you're talking about. I've heard that. I
Yeah.
just heard it just a few days ago, actually. I was in a meditative state and I heard it just sounds like it's just subtle, like a little ah, but it's more than just the ah. It's the
Mhm.
whole choir and
Yeah.
you hear it all. And I could sometimes I'll take a shower and because you can get into the meditative state just taking a shower sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've been in the shower, I've heard it. I've heard it out in
Yeah.
the hot tub. And I've told people they're like, well, I don't hear voices in my head. I hear music.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I remember when we spoke some years ago and got to know each other that we had that similarity in having
Yes.
that angelic connection. And
Your
I've really
music.
enjoyed seeing how you express that in your work,
Oh,
in
thank you.
your art, your creative creations and your music and everything you do. So it's wonderful, wouldn't you say, to be inspired by this higher power like that that comes
Mhm.
through us with these beautiful visions, and how we're
Yeah.
here to be like a bridge, a
Yep.
bridge between heaven and earth, right?
The worlds
Yeah.
within worlds. I know we spoke just a little bit a few minutes ago, and you hear a lot on the social media, on the news, even now, about the orbs.
Mm-hmm.
Where everybody's saying orbs. Everybody's talking about orbs. The Chris Bledsoe prophecy was supposed to be fulfilled yesterday.
I don't know that one. I don't know that prophecy.
Well, his had to do with a lot of orbs too, the orbs coming to him and a
Okay.
woman appearing and giving him this prophecy about basically times of change, which we all sense there is major changes taking place here, shifts, and not just the 3D, but like throughout all dimensions. It
Mm,
incorporates the monad. That's where my thought process has been lately, the past few weeks, really kind of
mm-hmm.
delving into the monad and the eons and
Mm-hmm.
which I recently learned about from another host, Hilarion, that was on. And
Mm,
I'll link in that video too. So into this one. So at the end, if anybody want to watch our conversation about the eons and understanding of that, which we are all one, all the experiences here. It's kind of a simple but complex understanding. But yes, I wanted to talk to you about your orbs, your recent viral video that has just taken off. People are just, I watched it and I've seen that. I don't capture stuff on video well. It takes me out of some sort of state that I'm in. And sometimes I will try to get them, but I don't really, I'm not good with that.
Hmm.
But you got some amazing footage, and I will show it after. I want you to talk about it, though. What happened?
Okay.
When was it?
Yeah, well, that's been kind of the most recent developments here over the last 3, 4 months. I've had a connection to the star nations, I think, for most of my life. As far I can remember even being a child and a young boy and having kind of some far out experiences and some dreaming experiences and kind of out of body experiences as a young child. And I write about this in my book. And, I was telling you how I came to Sedona and to do my glass art, and then I gave it up, moved into the van, and then I was in my van for 3 years. I lived in my car,
Wow.
but I was doing my glasswork on the side, and I was doing so much work on myself and tapping into the kind of the multidimensional portal energy here, the Stargate energy, and doing the DNA activation for the fifth dimensional light body and this and that. And so I started to receive symbols started coming to me. And I started making these little medallions out of glass and crystal. And I called them, they were symbols from the Federation of Free Worlds. So I had like Pleiadian, Syrian, Arcturian emblems that I was making like little pins and jewelry
You
pieces,
cut
kind of
out
like
for a
Star
minute. I
Trek
don't know if
type
you can hear me.
pieces. And I don't know, I might have one around here somewhere. But yeah, so and I remember I would go out in the canyons at night and park my van and go up on the roof and I would hold these up to the night sky and say, "Who are you? Why are you giving me this?" And I would ask them to reveal themselves. And I've seen a lot of phenomena here over the years. So I've been very much in tune with this type of thing for a long time. And then several years back, I acquired a pair of night vision goggles so that I could see in the dark and do stargazing and have seen a lot of unusual phenomena in the night sky. But what has happened recently, the series of events that have taken place that have been pretty profound, was that the first thing was that this past year I was learning about the Buga sphere. Are you familiar with the
Yes.
Buga
The
sphere?
Buddha sphere,
Right,
yeah.
right. So that's this metallic sphere. It's about 12
Mhm.
inches in diameter that crashed in Abuga, Colombia last year and was recovered by the village people. And now it's in the hands of the top UFO researchers in Mexico and whatnot. And so this is a really fascinating phenomena. They did carbon testing on it on some of the material and it's dated to 12,500 years old. So
Wow.
I was studying this phenomena. And what's interesting about the Buga sphere is the main design on it is a chip design. It looks like a computer chip. So it's
Mhm.
known as the Buga chip design. So I was fascinated by this, kind of observing this, learning about it. And then from that, I came upon learning about the alien artifacts that are being unearthed in Mexico over the last several years. And this is a mind-blowing phenomena. They're using ground penetrating radar now to find these caches of artifacts that
Wow.
are buried 10 to 15 feet under the ground, and they're very ancient. So these have been dated from 12 to 40,000 years old. So I started learning about that. Then I ended up acquiring some of these artifacts, and I'll just show you. I have a couple right here. So here's one here, and you can see this is called a potato stone, and you can see
That
the
is
little
so
ET
cool,
guy
isn't
in
it?
there, and you turn it around, and you can see it's got all sorts of ancient coded light language on it. And then on the bottom, there's another being there. And these are known as the material has been tested and it's a material that we don't even have. It's a geopolymer. So it's made out of kind of earth materials, but and it has a very heavy feel. So these were like personal hand holding stones. Here's another one here, kind of a unique shape. So you can see once again, there's a little ET guy and he's holding an orb in his lap.
Oh
And
my
then
gosh, so cool.
on the very top, there's some more ETs there you can see. You see them?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then here on the bottom, you can see this guy,
that is so cool.
right? And then this one, here's one of my favorite right now, is this one's a little spaceship. So you can see here, this is once again, it's made out of the geopolymer
Wow.
material. And this is cool because you see in here, you see inside, there's a little, this comes off the hatch, and there's a little
That
ET
is
guy in his
wow,
spaceship.
this is
And you
head,
pull him
yes,
out, you see, and there he is.
and his
He's
head.
a little ET, and this is
Very
his little spaceship. And so
that
there's
is
lots of these coming out of the ground. And you can see on the
wow.
bottom, there's, it's
My
kind of hard
gosh.
to see, but there's
Yeah, I
more
see.
engravings on the bottom. So,
Yeah.
so this is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So they're also pulling crystal skulls out and all sorts of things. And I wanted just for your listeners to learn more about that. The main website is aliencarvings.com,
Okay.
aliencarvings.com. So check that out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got some of these artifacts and I was hanging out with them and kind of meditating with them and seeing, if I was receiving any kind of inspiration from them. And all of a sudden I got this message that I was to go out to a particular location out west of Sedona and take my night vision goggles and go have a look. So that's what I did. And lo and behold, I mean, what all of a sudden appeared were these luminous spheres of light rising up over the horizon out of the mountains here, out of a particular canyon area. And they just float up into the sky and they do this incredible dance. And then they just move off into space and disappear. So
Wow.
so I've been going out a lot, and we're seeing this on a regular basis, and I was able to capture some really extraordinary video, and I put a clip up on my social media, and it got picked up, and it's kind of gone viral all around the
That
world,
is
and
cool.
it's
Yeah.
some
It's a good one.
exceptional footage.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And we can share that. It's for your listeners, if they want to look for that on YouTube, the title is Light Orbs over Sedona. So you can check that. And then,
I'll link it below into in
yeah,
the
you put the
comments.
link in there. Yeah, I also have a new group I formed on Facebook called Sedona First Contact, where I'm
Okay.
placing a lot of videos and a lot of pictures of things I've captured here in Sedona over the years. So I
Okay.
invite people to come and check out our group there too.
You've done many tours too of Sedona and with sound healing groups. You've done many, many of those. I know you were just doing something recently.
Yeah, I have a tour company here. I have a tour company. So for over 30 years on and off, I've done Jeep tours where I take people out into the backcountry, show them the secret, beautiful spots here, and I take a small harp out with me and the crystal bowls, and we have a whole
Oh my
sound
God.
experience out on the land. And I have everything now I'm using is tuned to 432 hertz. So
Mhm.
there's this beautiful harmonic pitch of the universe where the instruments and the bowls are tuned to that. So yes, I've been working with people, taking people out onto the land here as a guide for over 3 decades.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know a lot of great spots. Yeah.
Yeah, you've sent me some pictures before where you've had people like lay down and you're just
Yeah.
doing the healing sound music, which is beautiful. Music is definitely medicine. It is for me.
Yeah.
It is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Producing it and listening to it, I love it all.
Yeah, I end up bringing my clients to an amazing, beautiful, scenic spot out in the canyons. I lay them down on the edge of a cliff looking into the valley and up at the red rocks. And what's very unique about this experience is I do take a small harp with me. And when I hold the harp up into the wind plays this vibrates the strings and plays the harp, and it makes this
Oh,
tone. I call it the wind harp.
oh,
And it's the most beautiful sound. It sounds like angelic choirs or pipe organs playing in a great cathedral. And it just really calls in and summons the angelic
yeah.
legions to come. And when I play that over people and I actually rest the harp onto people's body as this is happening, and it emits a ultra high frequency harmonic overtones that have the ability to penetrate very deeply into the physical structure of the body, even into the energetic aspect of the body, into the chakras and the nerves and everything, and has this ability to clear and vibrate out stuck energy that people have been holding. A lot of us,
Yes.
it's human nature. We hold
Yeah.
on to a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. We hold on to the past. We hold on to all the pains and the owies we get in life, and
Mhm.
we're imprinted by our emotional traumas
Yep.
that kind of inform our personality and our emotional responses, and people get stuck in that. They can't, it's a habitual patterning, and they can't oftentimes can't break free of the patterns of how they express and react in life. So this has the ability to go in there and like clear it out. And it almost is like it's this like most beautiful celestial angelic sound bath. Sometimes what I do is I have a practitioner bowl with a handle on it. So I'll get the practitioner ringing. And then on the other hand, I'll have the harp and the wind harp. So I have wind harp and crystal bowl and 432 playing together. And it's really, I kind of do this dance with the two of them over my clients out on the land. It's pretty awesome experience.
I want to
Yeah, you'll
come.
love that. Yeah,
Maybe
you
it'll
got
be
it.
in the works in the next few months.
All
We'll
right, good. Yeah,
try
well,
again.
you could do a remote version of your podcast there, overlooking the
Yeah, I
red
would love
rocks.
that. Could totally do it. Totally.
Yeah,
Um, I
good
was
one.
I was going to ask you. It seems like it's a few years ago we were in a conversation talking about being able to pop out of the body. Didn't and you talked about your grandmother. Is that am
Right.
I for some reason that's coming through. I'm like
Well,
getting
yeah,
that.
that's interesting. You have that memory from our conversation back then. Yeah, and I do write about that in my book. So that's kind of how one of the reasons I got started on this path of mysticism and kind of the occult mysticism and esoteric
Okay.
studies of spirituality and different spiritual paths. So my grandmother, my mother's mother, my Irish grandmother, she was a real mystic. And she was the cutest thing, I got a picture of her right here. Let me see if I can show you. Mm, I thought I did. Where is that? Must be. Anyway, it's not in here. It's in the other room. But she was so
I,
cute. Even in her
I just
80s,
saw a little orb go whoop right beside you.
that's probably her. She's around a lot. I blame it all on her, my life in many ways, because she was a mystic, and
Hmm.
she was into Ekankar, which is the ancient science of soul travel.
Yeah.
And it's a very fascinating spiritual science that came from Asia into this country in the 1950s, I believe. She was a soul traveler. Ekankar is tuning into the inner light and the inner sound and tapping into that frequency and using that to lift you out of this 3D dimension, and that you can, in your soul, or you're in your non-local consciousness, in your spirit, you can travel up into these higher spheres of light, into the celestial realms, and go different places. She, ever since I was a young boy, she was always, even as a toddler, she was whispering things in my ear. She was wonderful at telling stories at bedtime, and there was a period of time where she was with me a lot, and she would tuck me in at night, and she would tell me these wonderful stories. She was a wonderful storyteller. And then, but she would always kind of seated with, kind of ethical and moral teachings, like
Right.
fables and these wonderful stories. But she would always tell me, Peter, listen to your inner voice. Listen to your inner voice. And so that she was the one that connected to me, to my inner voice as a young boy. And so that was really what began to lead me later. And, as I became a teenager, I became more interested in what she was doing. And she would always tell me, she'd say, Peter, I hear the angels singing to me all the time. And she would tell me about her journeys up into the bright world, where she would go up into the light in her meditations and in her
Hmm.
dreaming and go to temples of golden wisdom, or
Wow.
golden temples of wisdom,
Mhm.
where there would be other students there learning from kind of ascended master type of teachers in the
Wow.
dream time and in
That's
her meditation. So I was fascinated by this. And as I became a teenager later on, kind of going through my change into manhood, I was much more curious as to what she was doing. And so at 15, she realized that I was sincere in my curiosity. And that's when she started giving me the books and the more formal trainings of Eckankar and some of the techniques, and
Yeah.
so I started to experiment with that and really started having profound experiences. So, this kind of multidimensionality and soul traveler type consciousness, I was seated with that since my whole life. And
Mm.
so now, with the work that I do in my adult life is all around, traveling into these realms of light, connecting with the angels, connecting with
Mhm.
higher consciousness, and bringing that here through my music, through my art, through my land journeys, through my lectures and presentations I give, through my writing. It's all to reveal and to assist in the revelation of the heavenly realms, to assist in the upliftment and the ascension of mankind into the new consciousness, right? Into the new world, into new world consciousness of oneness and unity. That's all it's about for me. I just finished
Yes.
is to create unity, to bring
Yeah.
people together, to unify our world that is now so divided more than ever. So we're
Mhm.
on extra duty right now,
Yes.
and to do all we can to try to bring love and light to the world and to connect
Yeah.
people with that frequency.
Right. And you mentioned something about your grandmother talking about the dreams, and that's what was coming through earlier. I didn't even tell you, but that's what was coming through. I want to talk about what did what did she teach you about the dream? Because I had a dream last night that I have lucid dreams, but last night was pretty significant where
Mhm.
I had this plasma orb come over me and I was all of a sudden sucked up into it. And with my dog was in the UFO with me and we were just
Uh-huh.
traveling over the city and I was
Wow.
just giggling and laughing, and I don't remember what happens after that, but all I do remember is thinking, "Remember that you went on a UFO ride," in my dream.
Wow.
And then I woke up, I'm like, "Wait a minute, I was just on a UFO." So I
It,
wanted to hit on that, she's coming through to me in ways that I can understand, asking about the dream. She wants for you to talk about the dreams, like,
who
how
does? Who
your
does?
grandmother. I can't
She's
Well,
coming through to you?
just your talk about it, just grandmother, talk about dreams,
Yeah.
grandmother. So
Yeah.
that's how I get, hits on
Well,
things.
it seems synchronistic, that, you and I have reconnected. We haven't spoken for a while, and now we've reconnected at this time. And, your dream was about an orb that
Mhm.
took you up into the light. And this is what's going on out here and what I'm capturing
I
in the
saw.
nighttime. So I think you're to come to Sedona, bring your dog, we go out at night, and maybe you'll be
Totally.
beamed up and you guys
I
will get to
know,
go for a ride
I'm going
because,
to, it's in the works.
yeah, I'm getting the message, you see, they want us to come closer. So what's happened to
Yeah,
me, I have several viewing spots here, but now I'm going out farther in the Jeep. I have to take my Jeep because it's on a four-wheel drive road to these locations that are
yeah,
really close to the location because these areas where these luminous orbs of light are appearing are legendary for decades of being multidimensional portals and maybe
yeah,
even underground facilities there. There's many
yeah,
stories and legends of underground bases here or ET bases deep under the ground and that here in the Sedona area there's portals between the two worlds and that these it looks like for all accounts. And by the way, this area is near the Bradshaw Ranch, which people can search that Bradshaw Ranch Sedona This is a well-known legendary UFO place here that I just went to recently, and in my Facebook group, Sedona First Contact, I put some pictures up of the experience at Bradshaw Ranch recently. But yeah, it looks like these light orbs are just rising right out of the ground. And
What
it's
do you think they
fascinating.
are?
I
What
have
do
no
you think they
idea. I mean, I could say they're UAPs, which are
Yeah.
unusual area
Are there
phenomena. I
beings
call,
inside? Yeah. I mean, some people
well,
think they're angels.
I don't think these are angels. I think these are
Technology?
ships. You
Yeah,
know,
ships.
like, okay, like as I was showing you, like even with these many, like even with the spaceship here, you can see in these ancient artifacts, there's one being in here flying.
Yeah.
They had like personal
That's
spaceships
like how
that
it was last
everybody
night.
flew around. And so I believe that it's possible, I don't know, but maybe they're coming out and it looks like they're just kind of fly around and they're just kind of doing this beautiful dance up
Mhm.
with the backdrop of the night sky and the stars. And then they just fly off. They do whatever they do, but there are these light orbs now are being picked up and videoed by several people that I'm seeing on YouTube now are posting videos of very similar phenomena that I'm capturing, although my capture is some of the most dramatic I've seen or the most dramatic
Yeah.
I've seen, but there are reports of these luminous spheres are appearing and floating all over the place. So,
Mhm.
you know, we don't know what they are, but they're communicating to me that, you know, I believe it's part of the disclosure movement because
Mhm.
this is the time where
Yeah.
the truth is to be revealed about the true history of the earth. And that's what's also ties back into the alien artifacts that what is being revealed in these ancient artifacts is so mind-blowing because it does confirm, it reveals and confirms that there is an ancient history on this planet that
Mhm.
we don't know about that has been kept secret from
Yeah.
us for various reasons. But the
Yeah.
truth is now time to come out.
Mhm.
And so once again, you can see the alien carvings at aliencarvings.com. And by the way, people want to check out my stuff. My website is harpmagic.com. So you can come and
Yes,
see
and
my
he
stuff
does
there.
have some beautiful music, like,
That
really.
too.
It's very
Yeah,
activating. If you wanna get activated, listen to it, seriously. It's angelic.
it certainly is. Yeah.
I should have wrote it down because I had something I needed to ask you. I was gonna ask you, what was it? It was just coming through just a minute ago. There's so much, like, I'm,
Well,
like, getting.
let me show you this so while you're remembering your question. You know, I also am doing this art too that I can show
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
So this is my portals of light art, and you can see
That is
how it's
so
catching the
beautiful.
reflection
Tilt it
on
up
the
to so I can see the 3D, yes. I love
yeah.
it, and it's like you put epoxy over it.
It's got epoxy on it. So these are actual photographs of my stained glass windows that the angels in 2012, when I came back here in 2012, they showed me through visions how to create these images by photographing my stained glass art. You can see this one with
That
all
is
the
so
crystal
pretty.
spheres, and it has a citrine gem in the center, a beautiful citrine gem. And you can actually see the little angels in this one. In that purple golden part, you can see the little cherubs are flying around in
Oh,
there. Do you see them?
I do.
They're like right
So
there.
cute.
So the angels are appearing in this art that the way this is created is so unique. So the angels told me this is kind of like the visual component of
Mhm.
the music, you know,
Yeah.
and these are similar to crop
Music of the
circles
spheres.
even. So
Yeah.
so there's this whole connection with what's unfolding, and I really as I posted on my social media, you know, with the light orbs now appearing, it feels like, you know, I've waited my whole life for this moment of this what is getting ready to be revealed
That's what I
right
was gonna
now.
ask you. If do you believe or do you feel like disclosure, you hear the word just the term disclosure over and over and over everywhere. Do you believe that is related to ascension, to our collective ascension?
Well, I think
How
it's
is
a
it
part of
spoken?
it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's important that humanity knows the truth of our
Mhm.
origins
We
because
deserve it.
most people think that we kind of evolved out of the primordial swamp and
Mhm.
we evolved from apes slowly over evolution, but what is being revealed in the artifacts is it's that there was alien intervention, that basically humanity is a hybrid race that was genetically created by the aliens. And you can actually see on some of these artifacts, there's DNA, there's the altercation of aliens. It shows alien hybrid babies being made and everything. There's ancient books and tablets that portray this. So this is quite profound. So you can
Yeah.
make you gonna wanna check out these ancient alien artifacts for sure.
Yeah, there was recently an episode came out last week about a woman saying that they discovered alien fragments of like her DNA is not fully human. So
Mm,
it took me down the rabbit hole of kind of researching what is DNA, even like we all know what DNA is, but I didn't know that it was basically formed from bacteria. I mean, I'm not an expert on it, so I don't want to talk about it. People
right.
look, it was very interesting. But this woman come out pretty publicly saying she's had contact throughout all of her life with an ET being, and it's in the state, frequency states. It has to do with the DNA, and her
Mhm.
DNA's been manipulated, and I guess some people would get scared or get kind of weirded out, thinking, oh, ET, there's hybrid people. We're not all, but that's what everybody is here, and we're all part ET, and our DNA is not all 100% anything. Nobody is.
Right. I mean, that's even told in the Bible, in the okay, like in the Old Testament, it speaks of the angels came and mated with the daughters of man, and then they created a hybrid offspring called the Nephilim, which were the
Nephilim.
giants. And there have been giant skeletons found in several places
Yeah.
of the world. And then there was the Book of Enoch that was removed from the Bible. This is one of
Hmm.
the original books that's still like in the Ethiopian Bible that's very popular now. And also, yeah, so the Book of Enoch speaks of all of these cosmic things and talks
Like
about kind of
watchers.
divine intervention from these beings from higher dimensions that came to Earth
Hmm.
and the role they played in the creation of humanity. So this is part of the secret history of humanity that has been kept secret from us. So I believe that this is part of the disclosure is the truth of our origins, that they're here. And I just wanted to draw reference to your listeners that there's two important documentaries that recently came out. The first one's called Age of Disclosure,
Hmm.
which you can see, I think, on Netflix or Amazon Prime. So search Age of Disclosure. And then just 2 days ago was the premiere of the new documentary about Bob Lazar. It's called S4. And he was a guy, an engineer and a scientist that worked at Area 51. And then he came out and went public with what he saw. He actually worked on the back engineering of the spacecraft, recovered spacecraft. So that just premiered a couple days ago. This is getting a lot of attention now. So
Hmm.
you could look, that's on, I believe it's on Amazon as well, called S4. And they used the AI to create a lot of the imagery.
Hmm.
So it actually recreates the spaceship and the inside of
Wow.
Area 51. It's really fascinating to see and hear Bob Lazar talk about his
Yeah.
experience. And you get from listening to him that he's really being honest with
Yeah.
what he experienced there. So both of these movies, what they are confirming is that the ETs are here. They've
Yeah.
been here for a long time, that we recovered their craft, we back
Yeah.
engineered them, and we actually have recovered physical beings in many
Hmm.
instances, and they're here. So
Yeah.
this is a really big deal, and
Yeah.
it's getting ready to come out to the masses soon.
Yeah. I've been following the Bob Lazar story from a long time ago.
Okay.
I always believed what he had to say when a lot of people didn't. I knew it. Being intuitive, you can tell when the first time he decided to come out and why he even came out on national TV to say this stuff. Very interesting how the whole story with him, how they try to
Yeah.
wipe his name completely off of, like he never even was there when he was a
Hmm.
main top scientist. And why would anybody come out and lie about this stuff just to get fame? Nobody would do that. Nobody,
Right.
like,
Oh,
nobody wants to do that.
no.
But yeah, it's very interesting. I do believe it does correlate with, you know, humanity's ascension process.
Hmm.
So we can, and you know, it's time. It's very much so time. I said time is of essence. That's the documentary I'm working on, is time is of essence, because it's what is time? Time is illusion. Is time just essence? And essence, what is essence? And that's all of you, and that's where the eons of time come into play.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I put my post up, I made my first post with the light orbs a couple of weeks ago. All I said was, our time is at hand. So it really feels like we're getting
Wow.
to
Yeah,
that moment when
it
there's going to
is.
be this great reveal. I mean, and I think it's all part of, even with the war that's raging on now in the Middle East, this is so critical, the timing, because, you know, we're looking at, there are many people that are trying to bring the end times war, and because the messiahs cannot return unless the war happens. So,
Yeah.
the Christians and the Jews, they both need the war to happen in order for
Yeah.
the return of their
Yep.
Messiah. So there's a big push to
Mhm.
have the Armageddon war
Yeah.
as in the prophecies of the Bible and the Old
Yeah.
Testament. But there are those of us who are choosing a different timeline and a different
Yes.
kind of ending or end times reality to unfold on a different timeline. So it's critical now. I think it's time for all of us to wake up, to open our eyes, take a look at what's happening, and to do what we can to really embody more love and more light,
Right.
and to share that
Right.
with people, and let us be a positive force in the world as best we can.
Yeah. And I truly believe that there are a lot of really good people out there, and I know that there's bad people too, unfortunately, and it is not all love and light, some of this stuff. That's
That's
one
true.
thing, people, years ago when I came out talking about being a light worker, I got some people were like, "Oh, it's not all love and light." And it is, I know, I've known that. Any light worker knows that, I believe. If you're a light worker, you know where does
Uh-huh.
light originate from, and you cannot have light without darkness, and that's how it
Uh,
is in this 3D realm. Unfortunately, that's where we are right now, and, but we are on the best timeline, and some of us know that we are a part of this co-creative event or shift that is
mhm.
taking place, and, it's time. Like, it really, I truly do believe it. Now is it's all of this is going within and helping people kind of, question anything. I just saw another orb fly by you, by the way. Did you feel anything? I see orbs, and I can see auras. Some people's auras are
Okay.
just beaming and popping. You have some orbs around you, which could be your grandmother. Because your grand, for some reason, when I started talking to you, I kept hearing talk about his grandmother, which I'd
Okay.
completely thought and I wasn't even for sure if it was you that we talked about
All
with
right.
your grandmother. The
I'll have to look at the recording to see the orb. Yeah.
Yes, you'll see it. It goes real fast. Shoop.
Okay, good.
And it's not you don't have bugs over there or flies or anything. So some people are like, oh, that was a bug, that was a fly, that's dust.
Yeah.
No, there's these little Orbeez that do show
Uh,
up sometimes in our
now
videos, I promise.
now you see I have my harp. If you want, I could play my harp a little bit for
I would
us.
love that. I would
Would you
love
like
it.
that?
Yes.
I don't know how much time we have left, but
We
maybe we could
have
have a
we
little
have
we
we
have a little
have some
harp
time
music at the
left.
end here. Let's see if I have the right sound settings so you can hear it. Is that
Yes, I
coming
can hear
through?
it. I can hear it. So pretty. That is beautiful. That is instantly put me in a like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now. I
Yeah,
can
that's what it does.
meditate. You just play that. I can meditate.
Yeah. And it's tuned to 432 hertz, so it has this wonderful pitch, you know, a 432. It's very deep and
You make
resonates
that look
deeply.
easy.
Yeah, it is pretty easy for me now after all these years. So I'm glad
It's
I could
like
play a little
butter.
bit for you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and I want to ask anybody that's listening to check his website out and the websites that we talked about. I will put them in the comments and link them below. And thank you for coming on and listen. And everybody listening, please subscribe. Push the subscribe button. I will be posting more angelic talk, which is somehow I've just come naturally. This is all came to me here.
Mhm.
Several people talking about angels back to back, and that was not planned. So I do
Yeah.
feel like it's all in cosmic order.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Good.
Cosmic King, Magic Harp. I'm going to come to Sedona and let you tour me around and do some sound healing. We all need it.
Yeah.
Even healers need healing.
That's for sure. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you, Eva, and I wish you all the best. And I look forward to hearing more about your upcoming creations and what you're up to. We'll stay in touch, and we'll look forward to your visit to the Red Rocks sometime
Well,
in the
thank
near
you so
future,
much.
hopefully.
And I will send you a copy of this too.
Okay,
After
good.
it's all edited.
All righty then.
All right. Well, have a most beautiful rest of your day. The day after Easter. Gosh, it's a beautiful time of the year, and
Mhm.
I'm thankful for so much.
Me too.
Namaste.
Namaste. God bless. Bye bye,
God bless.
everybody.
Bye.